Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into the Overreaction Buffalo Postgame Show on the Overreaction Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. My name is Joe Miller, and you can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired, alongside my co-host for this here show, former Buffalo Bills Swiss Army knife along the offensive line for 9 years, Jerry Ostrowski, who you can find on Twitter at Ostrowski_Big O. And we are so excited that you are here joining us for this Victory Monday Big Dubs episode of the post-game show. Please do us a favor. Please like, please subscribe. Whatever platform you are consuming this presentation on, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. So good to have you do all that, get our metrics up, get the word out, all that good stuff. The Buffalo Bills hosted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a blustery Sunday afternoon in Orchard Park and put them away 44-32 to improve to 7-3 on the season and keep themselves in the playoff picture and on pace with the division-leading Patriots, who also won on Thursday night. But this game, Jerry, felt like three different games all in one. Josh Allen throws an awful pick on his first possession to avoid a safety, only to rebound with 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, over 300 yards passing, and a whole bunch of rushing yards. The second time he's done that in his career. It felt by the final possession that this offense was even beginning to maybe find itself or feel itself again. Did you get that feeling, Jerry?
Well, I thought it was interesting. I mean, yes, obviously the passing game today was much different than we've seen all season. I mean, it was much more like an old school, Josh Allen performance. Big mistakes, but big plays.
Right.
You watch this game today, and it's funny because the script was flipped. I mean, if you looked at it, Tampa Bay was the one that controlled the clock in time of possession. Tampa Bay is the one that controlled the line of scrimmage and the rushing yardage. Tampa Bay was incredibly efficient, but they didn't have explosives.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Bills, they won with explosive plays today. I mean, they only had 50 offensive snaps,
right,
but still had 405 yards and 44 points. I mean, just absurd efficiency out of the Bills today, 8.1 yards per play. Situationally, they were great. They were 6 of 10 on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone. They finished drives better than they've had all season. So, props to the Bills. And whether that was because of Gabe Davis and Josh Palmer being put into the lineup and the removal of Keon Coleman, it sure seemed that there was a definite difference with those two guys in. And when I say that, I'm not saying by any means that we've got these, wide receiver 1 and 2 and burners on the outside, but 2 vets that know how to run routes, and clear out space. And the Bills still were efficient hitting shorter mid-range passes in this game, but there was so much more space in the middle of the field for the receivers to work. And I mean, great performance. And if you said right now, if we found this lamp at the antique store and we were polishing it up and the genie popped out and the genie said, "I'll give you this Josh Allen and a couple of turnovers every game," I'd sign up. I'd sign up. So we're always gonna hammer something, right? And of course, the easy target today, and it should be, is the run defense. And that performance. And I will get into that in a little bit, but obviously, they did put the ball in harm's way. The first interception by Josh was silly, but I understand what he was doing, trying to save a safety. Probably more silly than the two-handed shovel pass or chest pass was, it looked like 1950s basketball. But I think more silly than that was the fact that we're in empty inside of our own 5-yard line down there with no back in the backfield to help and pass protection and things like that. That was probably more silly to me than what he did trying to get rid of the ball. But no, just an incredibly efficient performance by that offense. And I mean, we've won a lot of games in this city playing that way. So, if you could find maybe a happy medium eventually, it'd be fine. But, big time performance by Josh.
It feels like we need to break this game down by offense and defense and even special teams, because the special teams for the most part played really, really well outside of the one fumble by Mecole Hardman, unfortunate fumble. And you almost have to break it up into segments of the game, because there was parts in the game that were great, and then it was bad, and then it was really great. And obviously the offense, same kind of like stumbled around, and then the defense. And I have things I want to talk about, and I know you do too, and I know you've already been through one of these exercises already as far as a post-game show. The thing that was striking me, and I'm a visual creative type, and my mind works in songs, song lyrics, and movie quotes, and I know you're very similar to that, but it felt like watching this season, And not that there was somehow some major event last season or in the offseason, but my mind kept going to Days of Thunder, and how Tom Cruise goes through the giant wreck, has a very big conflict issue, can't whatever, blah,
Right.
blah. And then there's the one scene at Daytona where he goes through the smoke and he's like, I'm through it, Harry. I'm through it. And then like becomes himself again. And I felt like we started to see that from Josh Allen. And I wonder how much of that is because he was seeing things that were familiar to him, that made sense to him. And I'm going somewhere with this, Jerry. I'm sorry. And I want to tie that up into not Keon, that Keon is the reason that things were not going well, but Keon is a part of it, along with Josh Palmer being in the game, Gabe Davis being in the game. I feel like there's a stark difference between, and Khalil Shakir is good at this as well, receivers that can run around and play backyard football and guys that can't. And you saw it in this game with Curtis Samuel, because Mecole Hardman goes out, they bench him. Samuel's in the game, and it's the one incomplete that Josh threw, where he was pointing to Samuel to go as he's running flat, and Samuel's like looking back and either doesn't see him or isn't paying attention, doesn't break it up, and Josh throws the ball expecting him to break it up, and he doesn't, like break it up field, not break up the pass, break it up field. But it feels like Josh was feeling what was normal to him again. It's like, oh, I'm going to run around and there's a guy open over there, whereas before this, it hasn't really been that way.
Well, I think you make a great point. And honestly, I kind of attribute it to, if you want to, me anyway, when I look at the situation with Josh, I look at the game of golf. And Josh is much more of a field golfer than he is a technique, mechanical, perfect swing kind of golfer. When I say that, I mean, he's got to get into the rhythm of a game. He's got to see things. He's got to feel them for him to have success. He's not a timing guy. He's not a throw guys open guy. He's not a system guy. You can get him in a system, but he's got to have loose boundaries.
Right.
And that's what I saw today. I mean, I saw a lot of receivers that all of a sudden became comfortable in the scramble drill situations. Again, like I said, there was more room in the middle of the field that we've seen in quite some time. Josh made some unbelievable scrambles and played really well running the ball himself. Obviously had 3 touchdowns there, but it's one of those things with him. I just think that if he doesn't feel it and doesn't see it, he doesn't trust it. And for whatever reason, that's just how he is. And that's the type of, if we know that's the type of player he is, then we have to build it around him that he can be that type of guy. He's always going to test the limits of where he puts the football as far as turnovers and things like that. And I think we've gotten to a point where we just have to live with it.
Right.
If you have a couple, you have a couple. They're not advantageous, but but I also go back and say this: you can't throw the baby out in the bathwater either. We've got a hell of a running game. We've got a hell of a running back. So we've got to keep doing that as well. And the one thing I saw today that was really, really, I don't want to say special, but was confirming to me anyway, was at the end of the game when we needed to make tough runs and make the first downs to run the clock out, we did.
Yep.
So maybe this is a situation where now Joe Brady's seeing things, and maybe it'll free him up to do some more stuff early. But then we have to go back to that power running game. We can do it.
Yeah, I can go back to 2020, 2021, and 2022 specifically and remember show after show after show, both post games where it was just me and Hump Day Hotlines with Jay Spence the King, where we would talk about the fact, and this is where the run game would come in back then. It was like, if the Bills need to basically run out the clock with 6 minutes left, they can't do it. They don't have the running back or the run game to do it. And now they do. The question is, and you're the football player, you're the pro here, how do you get both? Or is it this week, that week? And meaning like this week, they tried to take the run game away and the Bills were successful passing the ball. Next week, the Texans might try to take the pass away and the Bills are going to jump on running the ball. Is it a back and forth, or is it a no, we're going to run you over?
No, I think you answered the question yourself. And what we've been seeing out of teams the last few weeks, Miami did it. The Falcons did it. If you could take the running game away from the Bills earlier in the season, you stymied them on offense because they had no answers in the passing game. And for whatever reason, with Josh Palmer and Gabe Davis, all of a sudden, Tampa followed the script word for word, line for line. It's not like they changed anything up. They followed the script extremely well. They ran it, controlled time of possession. They stopped James Cook in the running game early. The difference was they were able to make the plays in the passing game with the new additions at receiver. So I think Buffalo is going to have to always feel that. I mean, you saw early in the game, Brady trying to buck some trends. You know, the first 2 plays out of the gate were passes when people have been clamoring for weeks now. Everything we do is always first down run, second down run, however you want to look at it. But it just was a different feel and a different vibe. But I think the biggest part of it is, and like you said, Joe, it's if you have that ability now to make some plays in the pass game, you can't stack the box like you've been doing.
Right.
And we'll see this week. I mean, this is a short week, and this is a team that is extremely good on defense. So we'll see if this new trend that we saw today will travel with the Bills as they get prepared for a short week in Houston. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest difference. They had an answer in the passing game when a team made a deliberate effort and did early to take their running game away.
Yeah, it's the Gabe Davis thing. And I just want to clarify what I would feel is probably all of Bills Mafia's, or most of Bills Mafia's, collective emotions, thoughts, feelings on Gabe Davis. There was never a situation where anybody hated Gabe Davis or didn't want Gabe Davis on this football team. He had 2 difficult years, his last 2 seasons here, where his catch rate was below 50%, which is not good. You don't know why, when he had always been very, very reliable and had a great chemistry with Josh Allen and was a big part of Josh Allen's kind of like bump as far as in his game and the leap that he took. And what it came down to is I still feel this way right now. I don't want Gabe Davis on this team at $15 or $20 million a year. If I can get this Gabe Davis, like where Gabe Davis is Gabe Davis, and I can get him at not practice squad cheap, I think he deserves vet minimum or whatever a marketable value for his role is. I think that's what it is for me. Like, I'm not mad. I'm not upset. Gabe Davis is great. You saw the trust that Josh Allen had in him. You saw the connection. I love that Josh Allen in his post-game presser apologized just about the touchdown slant that he's like, I fired it in there way too hard. Like, he goes,
he threw a straight fastball.
He goes, the Iron Eagle was like, I don't think you could throw it faster than that. Like, as far as like on that specific pass play. But Gabe Davis is very much a warm blanket for Josh Allen. It feels like.
Well, Gabe Davis' situation was what we just had with James Cook.
Mm-hmm.
The difference was Jacksonville overspent for him and paid for it.
Right.
And when they got him down there, realized his limitations, like we understand his limitations in Buffalo, didn't work out. They moved him. Now he's back in Orchard Park. So it's very similar to the James Cook deal. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, you guys were saying get rid of James Cook. Nobody was saying get rid of James Cook. All they were saying was don't pay $15 million a year for him.
Right.
And they got him for what they felt they should get him for. And they signed him to a big contract, and he stayed. It was the same thing with Gabe. And in Gabe's situation, somebody gave him the money that he wanted, so he went ahead and took it. That's what this game's about, folks.
Yes.
It's about making the most money you can make because
Yeah.
you're not in it a long time. So, yeah, I mean, him being back, of course there's things he does well. There's things that he doesn't do well. But, you know, in this situation, what we've had at receiver, it's definitely an advantage having him back on the field.
Yeah. Got a commenter that's mad at me. Yamster says messy rebound. So he's not really happy with the way that I titled the show.
But it was a messy rebound. It
right.
wasn't, it wasn't perfect by the quarterback by no means.
No, and it's a great segue because the Anchor Bar, home of the original Buffalo chicken wing. Chicken wings, Jerry, as you know, have a tendency to be messy. They're, in my opinion, the perfect first date food. But Anchor Bar is the place to watch Buffalo Bills football and all of your favorite sports teams. Go to anchorbar.com to see all locations and info for online ordering. Anchor Bar original Buffalo chicken wings are fresh, never frozen, jumbo, high-quality wings. Our wings are deep fried and sauced to your liking with over 24 different varieties of sauces and dry rubs to choose from. In addition to their famous original Buffalo wings, all Anchor Bar locations have a wide variety of menu choices such as appetizers, boneless wings, chicken tenders, beef on weck, pizza, fresh burgers, sandwiches, salads, wraps, you name it, they've got it. Currently, there are 17 with the opening of the Tucson location, 17 locations for Anchor Bar across the country. There's 2 more opening soon, Frisco, Texas, and Raleigh, North Carolina. Do yourself a favor. If you're not in Buffalo, go to the anchorbar.com and look up and see where their locations are. You never know. You might have one near you, right? Right.
Yep,
so,
exactly.
Defensively, I'm nervous about this team. Like, they're going to have to boat rate. We were talking about it before the season started, that like we felt like they're going to have to outscore teams. Other teams are going to score 25 points on them. They're going to have to score 30. Other teams that score 30, they're going to have to score 35. I think is the model, and sometimes it's going to work, and sometimes it's not.
Well, I will say this about the defense: for all of its deficiencies and bad play, and again, I'll go ahead and jump into the put both feet into the deep end and say something that probably won't be taken well, but that's fine. That's what I do, and I don't really care. But again, this is not a who's calling defense problem. This is a personnel problem. This defense's personnel is poor, and it's not good.
Right.
And that's because of injury. If you had everybody healthy and everybody playing, it would be a different story.
That's right.
So I just want to go ahead and get that out first. Second thing is this. Say what you will about the defense today. They almost followed the script like they've been following the last couple of years themselves. Understand this. Josh Allen throws the two-handed chest pass for the pick. The defense held the Buccaneers to 3 points.
That's right. That's right.
Then they come out in the second half and they stall out. They got a punt or whatever. The Bills, they get the Bucs off the field, and then we have the fumble. They were able to control things in situations. Cole Bishop makes a huge pick to get that turnover, like we always talk about. They seem to get blown up, but they always have that kind of play that you need to have. They have it. So as much as they could not handle the running game, which is completely personnel driven, now they still found a way to make enough big plays to help this offense be successful. So, yeah, I mean, they're nowhere near perfect at all, but they did have some good plays, did some good things. But the main thing is that they just can't hold up the middle right now. They have no strength up the middle. And then first play of the game, Bosa re-injured that wrist and basically played the entire game with one arm in a very bad situation. You tell that it bothered him the whole game in a big way. So they gutted it out and found a way to play.
Yeah, I felt like this game was going to be another. So even with the disaster that was last week, we talked about it last week. They had chances to win that Miami Dolphins game. The three turnovers cut their legs out from underneath them all three times when they were finally kind of starting to build some momentum and get someplace. That was a winnable game for the Bills last week. And I felt like this was going to be another one of those three turnovers. Like they had opportunity. They were winning at times. Like they were playing good enough to win. The defense was doing good enough to win. And then the turnovers were going to kill them. Was going to snuff that out. But at the end of the day, the defense made the stops that they needed to make at the end. Baker threw an interception, which was great. And then Josh just went nuclear on them, which is
but you can't give up 202 yards rushing on 39 attempts at a 5.2 yards per carry rate and continually do that and win out. I mean, that's asking an awful lot. I mean, Sean Tucker not only had 106 yards rushing, he had 2 catches for 34 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
They've got to find a way. I don't know how they do it. The way they play defense up front, they're a single gap defense, and they're just not holding up inside in the run game.
Yeah. And then I was going to say about the defense as well, and it completely evaporated out of my brain, Jerry.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No. It had to go with what you're saying. And then I commented to somebody in the comment section.
Because here's the other thing. If you don't think it's personnel, TJ Sanders, has been on the IR for what, 6 weeks, 7 weeks?
It's been a minute.
He gets brought up. He plays his first week back. And every snap he took, which I believe was 19, he took a defensive end. He didn't even take a defensive tackle.
Right.
He was playing defensive end. He's not a defensive end. So it just shows you just how completely beat up they are. Now, the other thing is this. I mean, you want to talk about an evidence that the run stopping ability wasn't good. You look at Poyer. Poyer had 15 tackles.
Not good.
Poyer can't have 15 tackles.
No, he can't have that.
And I know Bernard had another 10 or more tackles, and Bernard actually looked much better today than he has.
Yeah,
it's obvious he's dragging the leg around right now, as evidenced by him not even being able to close on Baker Mayfield on that scramble. But he did a much better job today. He made a lot of plays in space, which is what he does well. But he did play better today.
Yeah, as far as I was very happy with Bernard's play. As far it seems like, as you said, he's getting better. I thought the linebacker play, all in all, was great. Matt Milano it's gotten strange. Like, he was in fuego early in the season. Got hurt, missed a couple games, and has kind of been invisible. It feels like this defense from one game is missing Shaq Thompson. Like, I'm elated and excited to get Shaq Thompson back in this football game. Whatever they're doing on the defensive line, it's a mash unit. They're mixing guys around. They're going to have to find, and I know they're working on it, they're going to have to find something that works as far as that goes. And then Poyer, like you said, with the 15 tackles.
Well, again, I mean, Joe, you look at the personnel you're playing with in the middle. I mean, you've got a 33-year-old guy you brought off the street, you brought him back in
Jordan Phillips.
92's been hurt.
Daquan, yep.
Daquan, he's been hurt. There's a perception and reality issue going on with Deion Walker. Perception is he should be defensive rookie of the year. Reality is not even close. He does make a big play here and there. The last couple of weeks, he hasn't done much of anything. He guesses and jumps gaps and stuff like that. He's not playing great. And then you've got, Larry Ogunjobi, who's kind of your veteran journeyman guy that does what he does. It's just, It's really tough up the middle right now.
Yeah, it was great to see that they shut down Ibuka, which Dan Freddy, our professional sports bettor on Mafia Bets yesterday, pretty much called that stay away from Ibuka's number, because the Bills usually do a pretty good job of finding that one guy on the opponent's team that they want to use, generally speaking, and they close him down, they shut him down. But story of this game, Jerry, for you, what do you think the story of this game was? It was just an overcome situation. They just persevered and overcame it.
Well, I think the story of the game is just, even though he had his ups and downs, the fact that Josh Allen was much more like the old Josh Allen that we know, the explosive plays with his feet, making big plays in the scramble game. The touchdown to Shavers was phenomenal. And not only was a phenomenal throw, the catch was phenomenal in itself. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest story of the game is just the 6 touchdowns from Josh Allen and the look of him playing like he used to be, or more like he used to be. And like I said, I don't think you go into this next game saying we're not going to run the football, we're not going to get into 13 personnel a lot or doing things like that. But they definitely have something they can build upon. And I don't know, Josh uses the trust word an awful lot.
Yeah.
And if Gabe Davis playing all of a sudden has given him trust in the passing game, then so be it. I don't care. But it was nice to see him back to the old player that we all know and love.
I'm going to try to link some fan thoughts together and land a plane. So good luck with this one.
Okay.
I know for a fact that, as much as I know 2 things for a fact, I know that folks inside of the building, whether it's players or staff, watch shows like ours. I'm not saying they watch ours, but they watch shows like ours. I mean, they say that they don't listen to the noise. They say that they don't tune into social media. We know that they do. I also know for a fact that they don't listen to us or me talk about, I want 2020, 2021 Josh Allen. Give me the interceptions, which is what you said a couple of minutes ago. I'll take a couple interceptions if I can get that version of Josh Allen. Meanwhile, they know the same thing. They see the same things we see. We see it. Like, this isn't working, give me that. They see it too. Even down to, and this is kind of where I'm going with it, even down to, there was a couple seasons where the reason the Buffalo Bills were the #1 team by a lot, I don't remember the percentages, but it was crazy, the best red zone team inside the 10-yard line, was because Josh Allen was a threat to run it in if they had the ball at the 8, the 7, the 6, the 5, whatever. And I'm not talking about the tush push. I'm talking about, like, he'd one-step drop, take off. And because of that, all of a sudden they had to account for him, which left guys open all over the place, and they were just unstoppable kind of inside the 10. That came back today too. And I don't understand where that goes. Like, why stop doing stuff that works? I don't get, that's what I don't.
Well, some of it is play calling. Some of it is, what are you trying to do in a game? What is your game plan coming into it? Are you trying to control the line of scrimmage? Are you trying to force the run? Those types of things. But I don't think that the average person understands just how big personnel is, especially in the NFL, because everybody is good, but there's still differences in personnel. And in today's game against the Bucs, we had a definite difference in personnel at receiver than we've had in recent weeks. And for whatever reason, that personnel grouping worked for us. Now, will it work next week? I don't know. We'll find out. We got a short week to get ready for it, and we're playing a tough defense in Houston on the road.
On the road.
But it's one of those things where I don't think that we one of the things that coaches always laugh about and they make a joke about is like, I'm the best coach in the world, and now all of a sudden I'm the worst coach in the world. I can't coach anybody. What's the difference? Well, the team's different, right? The team's different. You don't have the same players on the field that you had before. That's the difference. Right. And you know, a really, really good coach can all of a sudden, you know, everybody wants them fired, but there's that difference of personnel. And this team has had a unbelievably tough time of fielding their entire team that they want healthy for whatever reason that is.
Yeah. Yep.
Whether it's systemic, whether it's weight room, whether it's bad luck, whatever it is, they have a hard time. Because you think about today, if Dalton Kincaid was playing with how much room was available in the middle of the field, I mean, it would have been silly. So I just, you know, I know people don't like to hear that all the time, but it's the truth. I mean, you can call all the great plays you want. If you don't have good enough players running the plays, it doesn't matter what you call.
100% accurate. I'm going to jump over to the stats and read some of the stats from the football game. You've given us a couple already. Feel free, as always, Jerry, to interrupt me at any given time if there's something you want to expound upon. Josh Allen in this football game, who started out dreadful. At one point, I think it was 5 of 10 or 5 of 11 or something like that. Finished today at 19 of 30, which isn't stellar. That's not necessarily up to his standards. There were some drop passes as well. 19 of 30 for 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, of which they got 9 points off of, 1 field goal in the first one, and then 6 because they went for 2, I believe, on the second one and did not get it, which that's another thing for the defense. McKenna's sitting next to me, and she's like, if you're going to try for, you know, the 2-point conversion 3 times, you got to make it once, right? And I was like, well, they were 1 for 6 coming into the game, and now they've missed the last 2, and I believe they missed did they get the third one, or they missed the third one too? But I can't. Yeah, so yeah. James Cook in this football game, 16 carries for 48 yards, average 3 yards per carry. Josh Allen was 6 for 40 yards with 3 touchdowns. Ty Johnson 1 for 9. Passing, Josh Allen completed passes again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. So he got it around. Everybody 8, just a little bit. Tyrell Shavers led the day, 4 receptions for 90 yards with a touchdown on a great scramble drill as far as that goes. I don't know if did you catch Josh's post-game presser?
Part of it, but I don't know if I got this part of it.
This is where I'm not a journalist. I'm not a media guy. I don't claim to be. I don't really want to be, but there's times I wish I could be in there and ask the question. I just want to, or like nudge somebody or text somebody and say, ask this question. Josh talked about, they asked him about the Tyrell Shavers reception and that whole scramble drill that he went on. He said, yeah, he goes, I got to 1, and I can't remember who it was. Shakir was open. I got to 2. Ty Johnson was open. I got to 1 and 2. They were both open. Yeah. And for some reason I didn't throw it. And I want somebody to lean in and be like, this has been the problem this year, Josh. Right. Why aren't you throwing the football?
Right. Like on the 4th down play that they didn't get, Ty Johnson was wide open and would have had it easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. For whatever reason, there's those throws that he refuses to make.
Yeah.
Refuses to make them.
James Cook in this game was 3 receptions for 66 yards and a touchdown. It was great to see James Cook receiving the football along with Ty Johnson, who took that screen pass. What was it? Forever long. Was it 43 yards or something like that?
Yes.
2 for 61 with a touchdown. Gabe Davis 3 for 40. Dawson Knox 1 for 23. Josh, whenever Dawson was open, didn't throw him the ball, and whenever Dawson was double covered, was throwing him the football. It was a little bizarre. Curtis Samuel 2 for 19, Joshua Palmer 2 for 17. You could tell his presence mattered to Josh Allen, in my opinion. Latu was 1 for 4, and then Khalil Shakir 1 -3 on the wide receiver screen that they threw. Terrell Bernard led the way with 8 tackles total, 3 assisted. Milano 4 for 3. Poyer had a bunch. So who got the sacks? Daquan got a sack. Was it just the 1 sack today? It was.
I think so. Yeah, it was just the 1.
The kick return game was great. Mecole Hardman rips off that huge one to start the game, and then they started kicking to Ray Davis, and Ray Davis was having a day. And then they kicked it to Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel bobbled the football at his feet, which was.
But it's the other thing too, Joe. You know, you look at Buffalo's return game today. They had 6 kick returns for 234 yards. They had a 39-yard average with the longest of 61. I mean, when you get the ball at those positions that they got the Bills to today, the Bills offense, I mean, a huge advantage. And that's the one thing I think the Bills have been lacking, is taking advantage of this soft kickoff now that the league has and the ability to get good field position. And today they got it, and you saw the difference.
Yeah, second worst team coming into this game for starting field position. I was not overly happy with the elections to let certain punts bounce. If you've got 3 defenders around you and you're looking up at the sky, and I know you're not supposed to catch the ball inside the 10, but if there's 3 there ready that have it blanketed to stop it at the 2, catch it at the 9. That's just how I feel. I could be wrong about that. So, team stats, total yards, Bucs had 367. The Buffalo Bills had 414. Passing yards, 317 for the Bills, 165 for the Buccaneers. Rushing yards, 97 for the Bills, 202 for the 97 for the Bills, 202 for the Buccaneers, which you said. Yards per play, 7.8 for the Bills, 5.4 for the Bucs. First downs, 19 to 21. Bills with 19. Third down efficiency, 6 for 11, better than 50% for the Bills. 9 of 16, also better than 50% for the Buccaneers. Fourth down efficiency, 1 for 2, 1 for 1. Total plays 53 to 68. The Bucs had 68 plays in this game. Didn't feel like it. And when Ian Eagle came out and said that they had the ball 10 minutes longer than the Bills, like with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I was like, holy smokes. It didn't feel that way. Also, we didn't talk about this. The Buffalo Bills, this goes back to the whole, I know they watch at times. I don't think they listen to us. I know they know that they've got the problems. They went up tempo a bunch of times in this game, which I felt changed the flow of the game and the momentum of the game for the offense. Kind of help the offense find themselves. Sidebar there. Sorry. Fumbles 1-1, interceptions thrown, Josh 2, Baker 1, and then time of possession, Buffalo Bills 24-53, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 35-07. Anything in there stick out to you?
No, I think we talked about it. I mean, like I said, starting field position was really, really good. The fact that they were able to make some of the scramble plays, he did pass the ball around the multiple receivers without, it being so structured and restrictive, it seemed like.
Right.
But, again, there was still a lot of throws he missed, which he'll get those. I mean, for whatever reason, he doesn't. And I think it's a big confidence thing. He just, if he does, like I said, he's got to feel it. He's got to see it. And for whatever reason, if he doesn't have that, either one of those two things, he turns it down, and hopefully he'll continue to lean into that, like it, hit those open routes, and make some more plays.
Yeah, very good. Now is the time that we move into the Dude Award section of this program. For those of you that might be new to the program, people do arrow up, they do arrow down, they do thumbs up, they do thumbs down. Here on the Overreaction Postgame Show, we do the Dude Awards, the Up Dude Award and the Down Dude Award. Up Dude Award goes to the guys that played exceptionally well, the guy that we want to compliment and just say, hey, great job, dude. Good job. And the Down Dude Award is the guy that didn't necessarily have a great game, and it's more of a dude. We gotta talk, bro. So I'm gonna let you go first for your Up Dude Award. What you got?
Up Dude Award's easy. That would be the guy that the head coach, when asked about him, made the comment, when you work hard, you get the football. And that would be Mr. Terrell Shavers, 4 catches, 90 yards, 43-yard touchdown. Awesome catch. Was there today, and it's good to see dudes that put the time in, that work hard. It means something to them. They don't take their success for granted. Continue to push and strain, and good things happen. So my Dude Award is Terrell Shavers. Big game for him.
Yeah, I want to give mine to the running backs, because even though this wasn't necessarily both James Cook and Ty Johnson, not even though this wasn't a prolific running game for the Bills, they kept their heads in the game and effectively made plays where they needed to and remained available for Josh Allen in the passing game, which is something, again, Jerry, I know you said earlier, like sometimes it's about alignment, sometimes it's about personnel, sometimes it's about how you're trying to play the game.
Right.
But they're just, to Joe Marino's point, and somebody put it in the chat, throw the running backs a football. Like it upsets and makes it difficult for defenses when they have to worry about the running back, especially somebody fast like those two guys.
Right.
So the fact that they kept themselves in the game, because we have been seeing all over the NFL players getting emotionally broken down because they're not getting the football the way that they feel like they're successful, or the way that they should be getting the football. So the fact that those two stayed in the game, big ups for me as far as that goes. Down Dude Award is tough. Because obviously the easy ones are Mecole Hardman for the fumble. I think I'm going to go with Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel was a good football player, and I know that there's so much of the Bills don't use him right. And even in that scramble drill we talked about earlier, like how do you not? He's running flat with the defender running with him. How does he not look to his left and find that open? It's just bizarre to me. Curtis Samuel is just an enigma, and then obviously bobbling that ball at his feet on the one kickoff. My down due to war goes to Curtis Samuel. I had a hard time picking one for this game. You might have better luck, but for me, it's Curtis Samuel.
Well, I give Curtis a lot of credit for staying concentrated on the ball and making that catch on the sideline. You know, I do. There was other instances, especially later in the game, where he was open and the quarterback didn't get him the ball. So I understand what you're going with, and I know it's kind of hard sometimes, but I also think that Samuel did a lot of good things. Somebody in the comments asked about the wind and did it affect the passing game. I think it did with the receivers catching the ball. That ball almost seemed to have a knuckleball effect today. It was moving. A lot of receivers catching the ball on their bodies as opposed to catching it with their hands, which would lead me to believe that, yes, that wind did have some effect on it. My down due to war goes to the entire middle of the defense. I mean, it was pretty easy for me. You know, they just it's hard for them to show up right now. You know, it's not hard. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up.
I want you to
go ahead and read it.
Yeah. So Spin says David Edwards is 90% of the time, or is the reason why 90% of the time there's a free rusher. It's the rusher that runs right by Edwards, who's not blocking anyone. If you were in the Discord channel for Overreaction today, John Fina, I don't know if you were there by that time or not, but John Fina basically was like, that's not, anyway, go ahead.
Well, I got news for you. David Edwards is playing probably second or third best of any lineman we have right now. David Edwards is having a hell of a season, and honestly, I hope they re-sign him. And I think he's done a ton of work in the offseason to get better. He continues to work to get better. The free rusher going by David Edwards is not David Edwards' man. When they get in those sim pressure looks like the Bucs did, especially down inside of the 10-yard line, they point who they are going to. When I say they point who they're going to, McGovern, sometimes with the help of Josh Allen, decides who the linebacker they're going to go to or slide to. That's how they choose it. In that instance, that linebacker was to the right, and David Edwards went to the center like he's supposed to because they are sliding over to pick that up. What sim pressure does is they might give you one look one side, then they'll drop him and bring the other guy. The guy that's a free runner, that's 17's man. Okay, he knows if they're going to him, then this extra guy, if he comes, he's mine. Edwards will try to help late if he can, but he's got to stay in his A gap and slide to the guy that they called. So while sometimes it looks like an offensive lineman is not blocking somebody, a lot of times that is the free rusher that has been sent by the defense that is not accounted for. If you have a back in the backfield, that's who picks that guy up. Well, guess what the Bills don't do very much of? Put a back in the backfield to pick that guy up. And what they like to do, if you've noticed, the back actually lines up as wide as the tackle or almost outside the tackle. And then what happens is if that guy does come and he's responsible for man-to-man coverage on the back, Josh will dump the ball to the back real quick, and he'll go upfield and make a play. You saw that a couple times today. You saw him turn it down a few times today.
Yeah.
But no, that is not David Edwards' man. It's not David Edwards every game. I'm not saying anybody on our line hasn't had an instance where they've gotten beat. That's the blocking scheme and what the defense is doing in the blitz.
Yeah.
And by the way, statistically speaking, the Bills killed them on the blitz today.
Yeah, and Josh Allen actually addressed the play I believe you're talking about, which was I believe that was the interception play where he shovel passed it or chest passed it. Josh owned it and said that was all me. I missed the assignment on that play. And I would say this as well. So if you tune in for the off tackle, the Salem's off tackle with John Fina show tomorrow, we could probably have John break this play down. John and Jerry can break this play down just to kind of further affirm what Jerry, who obviously is right, is saying in this situation. This is interesting. I'm just going to grab a couple of these comments because we've got a couple minutes left. Lee B says, we won today because all the passes wasted to Coleman went to guys who wanted to play. I don't think that's accurate at all. I don't think there was I don't believe there's a forcing situation. I think I tried to, so there was a bunch of noise on Twitter today during the game. They're like, oh, all you guys have been blaming Keon, and this is going to like make it more further that you're going to blame Keon for all this. Like, no, Keon is not the problem. Keon is a part of the stew that has been the problem with this offense. But Keon, this offense, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't see much 13 personnel in this game, right?
No. There's no reason to run 13 personnel as much when you don't have Kincaid, because not only does Kincaid block well, but also 13 allows him to get the mismatches that he needs in the passing game.
Right.
So therefore, you can get into 12 personnel and things like that. They did run some 13, but they ran it with Reggie Gilliam. They did bring Alec Anderson in maybe a couple times, but not as much 13 heavy, considering that the one guy that it really, really helps is not in the game, because what 13 does is allow you to run the ball, right?
Right.
But then the other thing it does is you think you're in 13, but Kincaid's skill set actually makes it you're in 12 personnel.
Right.
Because Kincaid then becomes the slot receiver.
Right.
So without him in the game plan due to the injury, you don't have to get into it as much.
But I feel like this is more of a conversation around some of that scramble drill stuff that we were talking about earlier. I don't know that Keon is as adept, and we don't know all that's going on behind the scenes. It was funny because the report came out yesterday. Cover One leaked it that he wasn't going to play. There was no reason. They didn't give a reason why, just that he was going to be a healthy scratch. And then it came out today. Adam Schefter broke the news. It was because he missed a meeting. Keon Coleman, after the game, was questioned about it, and he said, I didn't miss a meeting. I was late, but I might as well have missed it. If I'm late, I'm not there. I'm not there. And then they asked him, somebody, I don't remember who it was, asked him, when did you know? And he said, all week. So I was like, you knew all week? Like,
well, you don't know all week when the missed meeting happened on Friday. So
but I wonder how much of all of that is, I don't know how much of it's disciplinary, performance based. Clearly they're not getting from him what they want from him. And scramble drill be damned. That's where Josh effectively.
But I think that if you go back and watch Keon or Deion Dawkins's interview after the game when asked about it and what Deion said, that was the most appropriate thing said about the whole situation. McDermott had a good comment as well about it. At some point in time, folks, you have to grow up and be responsible. And if you can't, then things happen.
But isn't that speaking more than to just missing a meeting? I mean, it feels like, and I came into the show wanting to ask you about if you had ever been in a situation where there was a very entitled young player that just wasn't giving all that they should because they didn't necessarily feel like they had to. And I'm not saying that that's Keon's attitude, but that's what it kind of seems like. Hey, I'm gifted. I'm an athlete. It was a second-round draft pick. Like, I can play. And at this level, Jerry, I think that's not how it is. Like, the greatest players in this sport work harder than everybody else, even though they're supremely gifted, more gifted than everybody else, right? Have you ever had an encounter with a young player like that in your playing days?
I never have, as far as, like Deion did today, but I think, I've seen it from afar. I've seen people on the team have situations where they've been reprimanded by the head coach and things like that. But here's what it comes down to. I mean, like you said, even if you're picking the first round, these young guys have a hard time sometimes, and we see it all over the place. I mean, there's guys all over the league that are having the same situations as far as struggling with productivity, because while they were the man in college, it gets a lot harder when you get to the NFL. The difference is this: you can't let it affect all the other off-field stuff.
Right.
If you're down and out because your production's not well, or the fact that everything you look at or anywhere you go, you're getting hammered by a fan base or everything else, you've got to hold up your end of the deal, which is your work ethic, and your effort and your attitude.
Yep.
When you're not showing up to the meetings on time, that's a direct reflection at the two things that you control as an athlete: your attitude and your effort. And you know what? He's had instances in the past where McDermott has done lesser things, but at this point in time, he surpassed all those other things, and finally something more drastic had to be done about it.
Yeah.
And he did it. And the ball, this is the thing, it's not picking on Keon. The ball's in his court.
Right. He owned it. He owned it in his post-game presser.
If you're struggling, but you're still out there working with a great attitude, knowing you're trying to get better, that's different than going into the tank and not being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there.
Yeah, for sure. A couple more of these. Have either of you, this comes from Steve Noble, have either of you, and this is more for you, Jerry, seen a defensive holding call on the field goal attempt in football in your life? That play was bizarre. I've never seen a play like that before, where Alec Anderson basically just helped him to the ground. He lunged, Alec stepped back, and just basically soft walked him to the ground. JJ Watt thought it was a good call. What did you think, Jer?
no matter what it looks like, okay, I don't whether it looks like you put both palms on a guy's back and helped him along or anything else, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, they even make those calls. You saw it last week in Miami when 95 got called for defensive holding for holding one of the guards that was trying to get off onto the second level in the run game.
Right.
You're not allowed to hold or pull in field goal and PAT guys out of the way. You can't do it. So I don't care what it looked like in the parameters of the rule. That was a correct call.
Accurate call. And we do have a super chat from Darcy. Darcy says, what about a down dude award for Keon Coleman? I'm not in the mood to necessarily pile on as far as that goes. I think he's gotten his fair share of run on social media in the last 24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. And I'm not piling on because honestly, this right here, and thank you for the super chat. This right here is very, very pertinent when he says Marvis Harrison, and this is what I was thinking of earlier. Marvis Harrison Jr. has had struggles all year and has a Hall of Fame father that played. The young people in new environments have to live it on their own, and I agree with that 100%. Some people can handle it and eventually get through and get out on the other side, and one day when they're getting interviewed into the 6th year of a great career, they can talk about the struggles that he first had. Some people can't, but the ball's in Keon's court. We'll see what he does with it.
Yeah, it'll be very telling to see how things line up with Joshua Palmer being healthy, Khalil Shakir being healthy. What's going to happen with McCole? How serious the ankle or calf is that mysteriously happened after he fumbled the football, but because he didn't hit the field again after that. Anyway, any final thoughts before I get us out of here?
No, I think that while it was refreshing to see the passing game step up, the explosiveness was the main thing. I do think that people need to look at it and kind of be a little bit guarded in what they expect to see this week or in the future. I mean, I think we have the ability to do some things differently in the passing game with Palmer and with Gabe Davis, but also understand this. We've got a Pro Bowl back, and we've got a really good offensive line. We need to make sure we run the football as well. Now, they're going to have to do some things differently schematically because teams are taking away that outside stuff, and I'm sure they'll get into that. But, you know, if you can get all this going in conjunction or hand in hand with each other, it could be really special.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for tuning into the Overreaction Postgame Show here on the Overreaction Sports Network presented by FanDuel. Tomorrow, Monday, we have the Salins Off Tackle with John Fina show coming to you live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday, On the Beat, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tim Graham, Buffalo Bills beat reporter Tim Graham will be joining us. Wednesday, 7 days to Sunday with that guy, Jerry Ostrowski and Zig Fracassi from Sirius NFL Network.
You need to hit that show. With Zig on there, Zig brings a different edge to it, and lives it all week long. So he's very well versed in what's going on in the NFL across the league.
Yes.
Really good addition to the Overreaction Buffalo Sports Network with Zig Fracassi, and you guys need to make sure you check that out. Tell your friends, because it's a good one.
Yeah, there will be a walkthrough program episode before Thursday night's game, as well as a Mafia Bets Bill-centric episode as well. But that's kind of what we got going on this week. Appreciate you guys for joining us. For me, for John, for Jerry, for Zig, for Ant, for Dan, for all of us here at Overreaction. We appreciate you guys. Love you so much. Go Bills.
Much love. Go Bills.
Go Bills.